Welcome to the Explainer. Gather round, explorers, because today we are embarking on a truly epic storybook explainer adventure. We're traveling way, way back in time to an ancient desert filled with mysteries, massive promises, and some pretty spectacular magic. I want you to get comfortable, open your imaginations, and get ready for a bedtime-style adventure like no other. We are going to explore a story from the ancient text of Genesis, chapter 15. It's called The Covenant of Stars and Shadows. It's got absolutely everything. We're talking starry skies, slightly spooky shadows, and some incredible glowing fire. So, are you ready? Let's go.
Have you ever stepped outside on a super clear, pitch black night, tipped your head way, way back, and tried to count every single star in the sky? 1, 2, 3, 100, a million. It's completely impossible, right? The universe is just so unbelievably huge and filled with way more sparkly lights than our brains can even imagine. Well, that gigantic, uncountable sky plays a massive role in our adventure today, so let's dive right into this. Part 1, a very big worry. Abraham's big problem. Okay, so our story starts with a hero named Abraham. He's living in an ancient land, traveling around in tents, and mostly just living a peaceful life. But then, suddenly, out of nowhere, God comes to Abraham in an amazing, colorful vision. God speaks to him directly and makes this absolutely incredible promise. He tells Abraham, "Don't be afraid. I am your protector and your reward will be very great." I mean, imagine having the creator of the entire universe show up just to tell you that you're perfectly protected and that a gigantic reward is coming your way. You'd think Abraham would be jumping up and down with joy, right? But instead, well, Abraham is actually deeply sad. He sighs this really heavy sigh, and he asks God a really tough question. He says, "God, what good will all your amazing gifts be to me if I don't have a single child of my own?" You see, Abraham is getting a bit older, and he doesn't have a son or daughter to share all his blessings with. He explains that a man named Eliezer, who just works for him, is currently the one who's going to inherit all his stuff. Abraham is just so confused. He wants a family of his own more than anything else in the whole wide world. So on one side, we have all the helpers and servants in Abraham's big household. But on the other side, zero. Not a single child of his own. That's his really big worry. But God listens to Abraham's sad heart, and God actually has a massive surprise. God tells Abraham, "No, your heir will be a child from your own body." God is basically saying, just you wait, Abraham, you are absolutely going to be a father. Part 2. Counting the night stars. A trip outside. Now, God doesn't just want to tell Abraham, God wants to show him. So it's time for a midnight field trip. Pointing straight up into the swirling, magical sky at all those sparkling golden stars, God tells Abraham, look up at the sky and count the stars if you can count them. Your descendants will be that many. Wow. God is promising that Abraham's great-great-great-grandchildren and beyond won't just be 1 or 2 kids, but a family as gigantic and uncountable as the glowing stars themselves. Can you imagine staring up at the vast, twinkling universe and being told, yep, that's exactly how big your family is going to be? It's just a moment of absolute breathtaking wonder. Part 3. Believing the impossible, the magic of faith. Now, remember, Abraham is an older man with no kids, so having a family as big as the starry sky probably seems entirely impossible. Is he going to laugh or is he going to believe? Well, this actually brings us to our ultimate food for thought for this whole adventure. The moral of Genesis 15 is that righteousness comes through faith in God's promises rather than our own human effort. Abraham didn't try to fix the problem all by himself. He didn't come up with some clever human plan. He just simply trusted what God said. The ancient text tells us that Abraham believed in Adonai, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Now, righteousness is a very big word, I know, but it really just means being credited as good and right, simply because you believed. Abraham didn't have to climb a mountain or fight a fire-breathing dragon to be a hero. His ultimate superpower was his simple, powerful belief. Part 4. Shooing the sneaky birds. Preparing for the covenant. So, God wants to officially seal this amazing promise with a special ceremony called a covenant. Think of it like an ancient, completely unbreakable pinky promise. But to set it all up, God gives Abraham a very specific set of instructions, almost like an ancient puzzle. Step 1. Bring a 3-year-old cow, a female goat, a ram, a dove, and a pigeon. Step 2. He actually has to cut the large animals in half. I know, it sounds a little gross, but this was a very serious way to make a promise back then.
And step 3, he places the pieces right opposite each other, creating a special pathway straight down the middle. He leaves the little birds whole, though.
But oh no. While Abraham is waiting for God to show up for the ceremony, trouble arrives from the sky. Swoosh! Swoop! Big, sneaky birds of prey start diving out of the clouds, trying to snatch away the animals he just prepared. So Abraham has to jump right into action. Shoo! Shoo! Get out of here! He excitedly waves his arms around, jumping up and down, chasing the swooping birds away to protect the covenant path. It's high action out there in the hot desert sun.
Part 5. The Deep, Dark Dream. A scary but safe prophecy. As the sun sets and it gets completely pitch black, a deep, heavy sleep falls all over Abraham. The text says that horror and great darkness came over him. Now, I know the words horror and darkness sound super scary, but don't worry. This is a mystery adventure, and Abraham is entirely safe. This thick darkness is really just God's way of showing Abraham a very serious and very real dream about the distant future. Right there, in the dark, God maps out a glowing timeline. God whispers a prophecy about the family that doesn't even exist yet. He tells him, first, your descendants will be foreigners in a new land. Second, they will unfortunately become slaves there for 400 years. Third, but don't worry, I will judge that nation that oppresses them. And fourth, your family will leave that land with many, many possessions in the 4th generation. It's wild. God is literally telling him the future history of the world before it even happens. Part 6. The Flaming Torch Covenant, the Final Promise. Okay, we have reached the grand finale of our magical ritual. Suddenly, out of the thick darkness, a smoking fire pot and a blazing flaming torch magically appear all on their own, and they float right down that pathway, passing directly between the animal pieces Abraham set up earlier. In the ancient world, walking between the pieces literally meant, I swear to keep this promise no matter what. God is appearing as actual fire and smoke to make an unbreakable promise to Abraham. And as the fire glows, God declares, I have given this land to your descendants, from the river of Egypt all the way to the great Euphrates River. God is gifting this massive, gigantic map of beautiful territory to Abraham's starry sky family. This isn't just some tiny backyard. We're talking about a huge, magnificent country for his future children to call home. And just to show exactly where this land is, God playfully lists off all the ancient groups living there right now. Get ready for a bouncy tongue twister, explorers. God says the land belongs to the Kenites, Kenizzites, and Cadmonites, the Hittites, Perizzites, and Rephaims, and the Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. Phew, try saying that 3 times fast. It's an incredible, rhythmic list of ancient peoples, and God promises that one day, this entire checkerboard of land will absolutely belong to Abraham's family. And with that, the epic storybook adventure is complete. God's grand promise is officially sealed. We started out with an impossible number of stars, we moved through deep, spooky shadows with a massive prophecy, and we ended with bright, blazing fire walking right through the desert. Abraham, who started with a huge worry, can now rest easy knowing the creator of the universe has made an unbreakable promise to him. So, my young explorers, I want to leave you with one final thought. Remember our crucial point from earlier. Righteousness wasn't about Abraham doing a bunch of hard work. It was about having faith. So, next time you look up at the twinkling stars in the night sky, will you remember that simply believing in a promise is sometimes the absolute bravest action of all? Thank you so much for coming on this explainer adventure with me today. And hey, keep looking up at those stars.